Hello! She's Marie.
And she's Becky.
And we are the Serial Killer Files!
So basically, we were always talking about serial killers, and we noticed that I'm really interested in American serial killers, and she's really interested in English serial killers.
Ooh.
So we
Team
thought,
GB.
So we thought we would swap some facts, talk about them, talk about different ones. And this week, or today, we are looking at women, female
serial killers.
ladies. So Becky, who's yours?
Shall I go first? Okay. My serial killer is a lady called Amelia Dyer.
Ooh.
Do you know about Amelia Dyer?
I don't.
That's good. Amelia Dyer was a woman in the Victorian era. Know how much you love the Victorians as well.
Do.
She's in the Victorian era. She was active between sort of 1880, 1896 sort of region. And she was in London and Bristol and Reading. She sort of moved all over the place because
So close.
Close, yeah, Reading. She was caught in Reading, just down the road.
That's really cool.
That's
really
cool.
Awesome.
Anyway, she was something called a baby farmer. Do you know
Right.
about baby farmers?
No, educate
I
me.
will educate you. Baby farmers were kind of like unofficial fostering homes. So what they would do is, obviously in the Victorian era, like women, if they got pregnant out of wedlock, then they'd be like shunned by society. So women who fell pregnant would go to a baby farmer. They would have their baby in private with the baby farmer in this house, and then give the baby to the woman, and she'd say, you know, leave the baby with me, just pay me some money to look after it, and I'll look after the baby. And most of the time, to save a bit of money, they just like wouldn't feed the baby properly or whatever, and they'd give it opium to keep it quiet, because back then that's what everyone did. All the housewives give your babies opium. So you'd get a lot of babies dying of neglect or dying from accidental opium overdoses. But Amelia Dyer kind of went one further. So she'd be like, yeah, give me your baby, I'll look after it. And she'd get the money from the woman, and then she would pretty much immediately kill the baby. So she
Sounds pleasant.
She was, yeah, very pleasant. She would get a piece of white tape, and she'd strangle the baby with the tape. And then she called out the doctors, and they started to get a little bit suspicious because all these babies were dying. So she thought, better dispose of them on my own. But this is how she got caught, you see, because she went and started putting babies in the Thames, and then bargemen would sort of find them, or they'd get washed up. They'd get washed up on the shore, and then one day they found a baby that was wrapped up in parcel paper, and on the paper it had an address.
Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake. So
Carry
they
on.
went to the address in Reading. I think it was Reading. I will fully fact check this. Went to the address, and this was Amelia Dyer. And they found, well, when they opened it, the house, they were hit by this sort of smell of decay. There weren't any bodies in the house.
Have you noticed that a lot of the times that's how serial killers are found? The hint of decay in houses.
Well, there is a theory, isn't there, that they want to get caught, but they can't stop of their own accord, so to stop, they get themselves caught.
That might be why
maybe that's what this is, wraps it up with.
Yeah, and then with her address on it.
There were no bodies on the property, but there was lots of money. There were receipts for advertisements in papers where she'd been advertising for babies to adopt. There were baby clothes, letters from parents saying, can I come and see my baby? All this kind of thing.
No, baby's dead.
So, exactly. Well, one woman, a governess, she came to see her baby, which had obviously died. So Amelia Dyer got any old baby and said, yeah, here's your baby. And the governess got suspicious and undressed the baby to see if it had this birthmark on its leg. But it didn't have the birthmark. So she realised it wasn't her baby. And then Amelia Dyer was sentenced to 6 months hard labour for neglect, which was like a really lenient sentence. And then obviously after that, she didn't learn her lesson. She just carried on until they found these babies in the river. They don't know how many babies she killed, but there are estimates up to about 400.
400?
So she is, in theory, and in all probability, probably more deaths than Harold Shipman. But a lot of people haven't heard of her. Anyway, she was sentenced in 1896, and on the 10th of June, she was hung at Newgate Prison. And here's a really cool fact for you. I have seen the rope that hung her. Yeah, let's put the picture here.
Right there. Over there.
Oh, there is one more. There is one more fact. There is a theory, which I don't think is a very good theory, but if obviously, probably you know the significance in the late 1880s. Because there was another very famous
Yes,
serial
1888,
killer.
if I remember
exactly.
rightly.
So there is a theory that she was Jack the Ripper, which personally I think is bollocks.
Because is she the one woman that they thought it was then?
There's someone else as well whose name I cannot remember.
That's not her MO.
Exactly.
It's
See,
very,
why
very
would you go
far
from
her MO.
killing babies,
And when was she
strangling babies, to
When was she
slicing up
caught in
prostitutes?
Reading? What year?
1896.
1896. That's a big
Yeah, exactly.
period.
I think that's
Yeah.
rubbish.
Rubbish, but
There you go. That's Amelia Dyer.
that's very interesting.
Good. I'm glad.
I have a totally different end of the scale, which I
Okay.
didn't realise it would be so relevant, but my killer killed elderly people
Oh,
rather than for
for babies. Yeah.
yeah. So her name is Dorothea Puente,
Puente. I would say. Puente.
because she does not
Wow.
look like a serial killer. Look at that.
She really does not look like a serial killer.
She looks like this really kind old lady.
She does, like a little grandma.
She was, she didn't start killing until quite an old age.
Okay.
But first of all, she was orphaned at the age of 9, and then she lived in an orphanage
Okay.
for quite a while. And there are lots of stories of abuse before she was orphaned and after, as it was in the 60s when she was a child. She then just carried on her life, and she somehow owned a brothel,
As you do.
and she was arrested. So this is quite interesting because she was arrested a few times in her life up until she was then arrested for murder.
Right, got you.
But they never kept her for long because it was small crimes like owning a brothel and being a prostitute. She then owned a house in California
Okay.
where she started her killing. It was a boarding house
Okay.
where she used to rent out rooms to elderly people, and they would stay there and she would murder them. Her method of killing was poisoning or suffocation, but they would just disappear. It's like, oh, they just went.
That's
Where
weird.
they left.
Because she's not making a profit out of them, is she?
Aha.
Oh, okay.
Aha. What she would do is she would go and she would cash in their pensions and cash in their security
Got you.
checks. So she got caught by. They got suspicious because there was a random man, a homeless man,
Right,
that
okay.
did odd jobs for her. And they noticed that he was digging late at night,
Bit weird.
both in the basement and in the garden.
Oh, it's getting a bit Fred West, isn't it?
And getting a little bit Fred West. And then he suddenly went missing.
Oh.
But everyone knew this guy. Everyone knew this person. They knew he was around. So they started seeing, why is he not here? Last time we saw him was when he was digging for Dorothea. Ooh, what's all this
I know where
then?
this is going.
So somebody called the police and they found bodies on the property.
Nice.
And she was convicted of 3 murders. That's what she was actually convicted for.
Yeah.
But they suspect she killed between 9 and 15 elderly people that stayed with her.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
She's such a nice little old lady.
Look at
Well,
her face.
she's not, but she looks like such a nice little old lady.
And so she did it all for money.
And she only started killing in later life.
In later life, yeah.
Never give up your dreams.
Because she was older, she could get the trust of the older people.
Of course. Because they thought it was her. Or they'd say, oh, this is my husband. Or
Yeah,
they just assumed it was her pension.
exactly.
Weird.
So she...
And who's going to suspect a little old lady?
Exactly. And she was convicted and she died in prison. So, but she always,
Wow.
throughout her incarceration, she maintained her innocence. But there was too much evidence against
Yeah.
the fact that there was bodies on her property.
Just a coincidence.
The fact that she was getting all the checks and she was cashing in all the pensions.
Completely innocent.
Completely
Obviously.
innocent. But yeah, like she died of natural causes in prison. Yeah.
Fact file. Years active.
1982 to 1988.
Mine was 1880 to 1896, so they were pretty much
100 years apart.
more or less exactly 100 years apart.
That's pretty cool.
A little bit of an overlap.
Yeah.
Number of victims.
suspected 9 to 15, but convicted only for 3.
Yeah, Amelia Dye was convicted of 1, I believe, but up to 400. They know there were definitely 3 because they found 3 babies that were definitely linked to her.
Definitely dead.
Oh no, it might have been 7. There were also some unidentified babies. But suspected up to 400. Type of victim.
Old.
Old people. And babies.
Babies. 2 ends of the scale.
That's weird, isn't it?
100 years apart.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't talk about this before.
No, it was like a secret.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
It is very weird.
MO.
Poisoning or suffocation.
And strangling.
So
Quite
that's...
similar, really. Strangling and suffocation.
Yes.
Airways.
Yeah. Could be suffocation through strangling, but it just says suffocation, which is probably pillows.
Pillows, I would
And
say,
the
yeah,
faces
probably.
of poor old,
Probably
mentally
If this
challenged
is poisoning
people.
as well. So maybe like a sleeping tablet. And then-
Yeah, it does. It was overdosing on sleeping tablets.
And sentence.
Life imprisonment.
Hanging.
I've just read this and it's great that they didn't execute her because it would be like executing your grandmother.
But I said my grandmother wasn't a serial killer, so it would be nothing like that. Thank you very much for watching our very first Serial Killer Files video.
Did you see the wordplay? The wordplay's great.
Marie's very proud of that. Serial Killer Files, like...
There's a file, well that kind of file,
And a
but
philia,
Ophelia.
but not a philia.
No, we don't touch serial killers.
Anyway, thanks
Anyway,
for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Until next time, don't die.